Hi, it's Drew, and this PlayPosit is going to be on functions of the nervous system. So what is the nervous system? As a whole, the nervous system is a bodily processing system made up of the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. So the brain is basically a central node for experiencing sensations in our everyday lives. And so as you can see in this picture here to the bottom left, that the brain is a really complex structure, and without it we won't be able to move, think, or act on our own. Then we have the spinal cord, which is the middle picture, and you can see it's a really long, thin, tubular structure that reaches all the way from the top of your brainstem to the bottom of your spinal cord, or the spinal column. And this adds support and acts as a receptor to nerves. Then our last picture is a nerve, and nerves transmit impulses to the brain and spinal cord, telling your brain and your whole body that something isn't right and that something just happened. And you can see how there's little lights almost signaling that there is danger or that something's not okay. So an overview. The nervous system is a complex collection of nerves and specialized cells. So without these, like I said, we wouldn't be able to do anything in our daily lives. And an example of how the nervous system works can be shown through a person touching a hot pan. So when you touch something hot, you almost immediately, like a few seconds after, let go. And this is because those impulses are sent to your brain telling you that something is wrong and that your hand is hurt. So if we didn't have these sensory receptors, we would probably just go around getting hurt and injuring ourselves, and we didn't even know it. So nerves tell us that we need to let go. And so in this picture here, you can see the sensory receptors, which are all over our body, but in this case, it's on the hand. And you can see the finger is reaching to touch the hot flame. And when the finger comes in contact with that heat, the brain is going to be notified that it needs to pull away to stop itself from getting hurt. So why do we need the nervous system? Like I said, without the nervous system, we couldn't survive. We wouldn't be able to move, function, or think on our own. And you can look at the nervous system as working almost like a computer. So if a computer's networks lose connection, other parts of that computer lose connection. So you need all of the major systems to work together, or the major organs. So you have your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves, and without one of them, or without one of them contributing, it's lessened and it's harder to function. So this system basically helps all parts of your body, from your toe to your forehead, to communicate with one another effectively. And functions of the nervous system. So the nervous system collects information both internally and externally about your environment, and it processes information. So there's two major parts of the nervous system: the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS, and the central nervous system, or the CNS. The peripheral nervous system consists of nerve cells and regular cells that collect information and relay it to the brain and spinal cord, which are the central nervous system, or the CNS. And that processes the information and creates a response that delivers it to a certain part of the body. So again, we'll use our hot pan analogy. And when you touch a hot pan, that is your peripheral nervous system getting that information of your body and relaying it to the central nervous system, which is the brain or the spinal cord, and telling it that you just touched a hot pan, you need to let go, and then your brain puts that information back to your hand. It sends it out to a different part of your body, and it puts it back into your hand and tells you to pull away from the flame or let go of the pan. So then we have an example of Phineas Gage. So I thought of this because last year in 8th grade, we read a book of Phineas Gage, and basically he is regarded as one of the most well-known nervous system injuries known to man. He is a brain damage patient, and from him, researchers from like the 1940s, I'm pretty sure it was around that time, they learned that there is actually a correlation between a person's personality and how their brain functions as a whole. So basically, Phineas Gage was a railway construction man, and one day when he was fixing up a railway, a tamping iron, which is a really long iron rod, it got shot through his head, just shot right through, and it went through his left cheek up to the frontal lobe. And so we can kind of see this, how it works with the nervous system, because before it was said that he was a quiet, balanced, hardworking guy, and he was pretty quiet, and he was well known as being an overall good guy. But after his incident, though he was said to be okay, he became loud, disruptive, he would shout profanity, and he sunk into almost a childlike mindset. And this just shows how the nervous system directly relates to our everyday lives and how the brain controls more of our body than we actually think it does. And then, so we have 3 pictures here. So you can see that that tamping rod went right up through his left cheek and into his frontal lobe. So this picture right here shows that. Then this picture down below is a side angle, and you can see the rod, how it just punctured right up into his skin. And this, again, are just different angles and him after the accident. And he actually only lost consciousness for about 10 minutes. So the rod shot through his head in an explosion, he fell back, and the rod was shot out about like 30 yards away from him. So you could just see how powerful that strike was to his face. But again, he did not lose consciousness for long, for about 10 minutes, I think, and he regained full consciousness, and he made about a recovery in almost 10 weeks, and again, like I said, his personality was drastically different, but his body seemed to work okay, and he died, I think, 12 years later of pneumonia. And then here are my works cited. But so that was my PlayPosit on functions of the nervous system.